Let's talk about chambering. Now, there's a couple different chambers. There's a regular retraction chamber. When we do that, that's typically part of a block in Shotokan Karate, or the opposite of a punch, meaning I'm pulling back as I'm chambering to my side. There's that chamber, and then there's the Shudo chamber. When we do our cross Shudo, our hand goes across our stomach and our hand stays up. This is typically because, unlike this move where you're grabbing something smaller like fingers or hair or wrist and pulling back and striking, when you're doing a cross Shudo, you're closer to your opponent and you're grabbing them usually by the arm, above the elbow, shoulder, or even by the neck or the head. So I'm open and chambering across my stomach. Very different positioning, both in stance and look, from my straight punch. Both of my hands are closer to my body. Everything's a little bit more extended. Now for the crossbody chamber, which has the unfortunate name of also being called cup and saucer. It goes like this. Now if you know what a cup and saucer is, if you're having tea, the saucer is the small plate and there's a teacup on top. So they imply that everything's right on top. I don't really like the name because the problem is everyone pretty much does it on top anyway. If you notice from watching my hand 2 videos or hand 4 or even Tekki, there's going to be some things that we're going to highlight to separate those hands. When I do hand 2, this is the first instance of this, we start off with our block, reach, grab, and strike. So the first time our chambers start to fall apart is right here. A lot of people leave it open, a lot of people go like this. This arm should be all the way back. The second one goes to the other side, exact same thing. Sometimes people do one and not the other, sometimes people do both. But from here, this is the move we want to focus on our crossbody chamber. This hand is going to come forward and parry across. And if you look, there's a lot of space. This is not on top of this hand. This is not out here. They're not somewhere in between. My hands are not laying on my belly, and they're definitely not upside down in some strange position. When I go from this chamber to here, watch my left hand, the one over here, it does not move. That's how we're going to properly get into that position. I could be grabbing and holding, I could be grabbing and holding, but there's a lot more action out here than there's going to be if I'm just resting my hands. One more time from hand 2, block, grab, strike. If this chamber is good, the next chamber should also be come across. All right? Now in hand 4, unfortunately, the 3 chambers that do crossbody are not stopping points, meaning that the command allows you to go from one to the next. So one of them looks just like hand 2. When I do this move in hand 4 that looks like the opening of hand 2, we come forward and then we twist and strike. It's very easy to make that sloppy because we're focused on the X block. I'm going to do it facing the camera so you can see the position. What I want you to try to do is come up, stop for a second, make sure you have the space around this before you step into the X block. Again, so I'm going here, I come forward, and I twist. You have the pivoting of the stance, you have the power of that crossbody chamber. The other 2 in hand 4 are both the same move, it's from the side kicks. So again, we don't stop, so that's where things get sloppy. I'm going to get into my augmented block. When I come forward, I come across, and I'm in a hurry to get that side kick so I forget what's going on over here. This hand is still on my side. As it drew in, this hand came across my body. I'm turning so you can see better. From there, I make my side kick, I chamber back, there's my pivot. Now my arms are close to each other, but now watch where my left arm goes. All the way back. You see the elbow? So that is my chamber. There is space there. From there, side kick to the right, I reach, there's my strike to there. So it takes a while to get that, but those pieces are the parts we're working on. We're talking about seeing a window to the toes. I keep asking the students, do you see your toes? Can you make a window? So within reason, you should be able to see space between your body and your arm. Please practice that. For the advanced katas, both Tekki and Jiansu at beginner brown belt, it's filled with this. So we did a video separately on those, so I'm not going to go through every part of it. But when you open up and you get to this part of Tekki and you're in that horse stance and you pivot, and then you come back to chamber. If you see where my elbow is on the other side, that means I really pulled back. I didn't leave my hand sitting out here. Notice the elbow disappears. Now it's back. So I really want you to focus on pulling back more, allowing your body to twist more, and then keeping this hand where it is. It doesn't have to sneak all the way over there. From there it drops, allowing that punch to happen. Same thing in Yansu. When you're doing Yansu and you get to this move, it's not clap your hands together, or hide something, or putting it on the belly. The hand that's on the side pulls, this hand comes across, there's my arm break. Okay? I have a lot more options when my hands are out here than I do by just letting my hands cup. So from there, 1, space between, punch, 1, 2. When you go to the other side, same thing. Don't let this hand start to creep out. A retraction's a retraction. This hand's crossbody chamber. I step in and follow up with my next techniques. Please work on those chambers. They're an important part of your development.